guys, it's Sheila Shimmers. Welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be a very exciting video for me because I'm going to be trying out a brand for the first time. This is the brand Amor. I've never heard of this brand before purchasing this eyeshadow palette, and this is the Remember Me palette. So we're going to be using it, testing it out, seeing if I like it. Before we start, please don't forget to subscribe below, hit the notification bell, and like this video. And without further ado, let's just go ahead and get started. So like I said, we're reviewing the Remember Me palette by the brand Amor. I'm going to first show you how it looks like. This says to be a limited edition palette. I have never tried their brand before, so this is the first one that I've ever even heard of. When you open it up, it looks like this. It has a mirror on the top, which is pretty big, which I appreciate, and then you have your 32 shades on the bottom. It is a mixture of matte and shimmer shades. But what I really like about this palette and really caught my attention is that they have so many kind of like different variations of colors. Sometimes you see a color that is very similar, like this yellow to this one right here, or this one to this one, these two greens, but they don't really give you the same color. And I feel like sometimes brands oversee that, and sometimes they like push out the same colors over and over again. And I was getting pretty bored with the colors and the shadows that I was using. And honestly, what I love about this is that there's so many things that you can do. There's so many options. And there's even so many options within the same shade, like I did today. Like I used so many blues out of this palette, but yet none of them look the same on my eye, if that makes any sense. It is kind of like a cardboard material. It feels a little bit in the cheaper side, but I don't think I have any complaints with the packaging whatsoever, especially after I tell you how much this palette cost me. So I got this from the Amor USA website. So it says that it's a limited edition palette with 32 pressed shadows, 7 new bold matte pigment shades. And it says that it gives you electrifying looks with this high color impact, smooth, buildable, and blendable pigments designed for brilliant makeup lovers and artists, and it serves a bright color spectrum of vivid matte brights to create unforgettable looks. It says that it's cruelty-free and vegan. The first ingredient on this is talc. I do like to give kind of like that, take that out of the way, because if you don't like shadows that are very, very powdery, you're definitely not going to like this one. I did have a lot of kickback with one of the shades that I used, but for the most part, it's something that doesn't bother me. I feel like that's okay. That's something that just comes with using a palette. The price of this palette is $15, believe it or not, $15 for 32 super bright, super silky, and super smooth eyeshadows. I mean, you can tell right there the color range that goes all the way from like pink to the oranges, the greens, the purples. You even have a black in here, so that's really good. And yeah, so all the shades also have their names right here, which I really appreciate. And like I said, it has a mirror, a little magnetic closing. For size, I would say that this is maybe like 6 inches, but that's not something that really bothers me. I find it really easy to just pack these shadows whenever I travel. On the website, it says that they're all matte, but I'm kind of confused because I do see like 11 shimmers in here. So out of the 32, 11 of them I would say are shimmers. I ended up using 2 of them today, and I really like how they looked. So yeah, without further ado, let's just go ahead and start this tutorial if you want to see how I created this look. So here we are. Here's our palette. Now we're going to start doing the makeup. I already done one eye, as you can see, and we're just going to go ahead and do the second one. So first, I want to say, look how beautiful the colors are. I just felt like I've been playing with so many colors lately, and I always want to like mix them around, and sometimes I don't get the result that I wanted. So I kind of wanted to stay with the blues today. That's kind of what I was feeling, so that's what we're doing. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is priming my eyes. I'm going to be using the P. Louise base in the shade Rumor 02. That is it right there. What I like to do is just put a couple of drops on the back of my hand just to warm it up. And I feel like that way is just easier for me to work with it. So I'm going to be patting this on my eyes with the Sigma Concealer F75 brush. And this is what I like to do, just pat until I kind of cover my whole eye area. And then once I feel like the bottom part of the eye has enough, I kind of just swipe, kind of outlining the brow like this. So once I have this, my eye is completely covered. I like to use this Makeup Geek brush. It's just a stippling brush, and it's very small and just stands. That's why I like this one. I feel like it gets in really small areas, and I just go over it. I blend the inner corner and the outer corner of the eye. And once I've done that, then I just kind of tap a couple of times on my eyes. I don't want to fully set this concealer, but I don't want it to be wet and sticky when I go with the eyeshadow. The first shade I'm going to be taking is called Lagoon. It's this one right here. I love this shade. I feel like this one and Jade look a little similar, but Jade is much deeper. You're going to see that in a second once I use it. I was afraid that they were going to look too similar once I put them on my eyes, but they actually look really, really pretty. I'm going in with my Morphe M514. If you have hooded eyes like me, this is probably the best brush to start with. It really gets on the crease and it doesn't like make a mess out of your eyeshadow. And I feel like it's very easy to just keep control of where you're putting it. So check this one out if you haven't. So I'm going in with this Lagoon shadow, and I'm going to be placing it a little bit above my crease. So I'm just doing tapping motions like this, and I'm putting this all over my crease, inner corner and outer corner. And then in the inner corner, I kind of just like to bring it down a bit and kind of blend it in right there. So after we have that, I'm going in with a Sigma E25 brush, and I'm going into the shade On Air right here, this beautiful like sky blue. I'm also placing this one right over top. This is going to look very similar in the beginning, but then you're going to see that they're actually pretty far apart. So very carefully, I'm just blending this in the beginning. Once I have that shade where I like it, I'm going back to Lagoon. And let me tell you, these shadows have a lot of kickback. I feel like some of them have more than others, but just be aware. That is not something that bothers me, but if it bothers you, I feel like you're not gonna like it. So I'm going back into this shade and I'm just blending it in a little bit more. And I feel like this part you just have to play around with those two shadows until they kind of look like they're very, you know, blended out well, and just you can see like a color separation. I do find like the trick is the softer you go, the faster and better they blend out. Some people like to go very harsh and they're actually making it worse for the eye. So I like to go very softly and just take my time. Alright, so I feel like that looks really good. Going back to Lagoon, now I want to definitely make it more of a statement right on the crease. So I'm just going to darken it up a little bit. I'm going in with my next shade, which is Jade, right on the bottom. These are all matte shadows, by the way. I'm going in with my Morphe M506, which is just a very small, dense brush. And I'm applying this right on the crease as well. So you can see this shadow looks way darker on the eyes than what I was expecting. I'm applying it on the outer corner. And then I'm moving my way into the inner corner. I'm going back into Lagoon, and I'm sorry I'm like tiring you with this shade, but I really want to make sure that everything is blended. We're not taking crazy steps over here because blues can be tricky and you can look very bad very quickly. Then I'm going to Noir right here. This is just a matte black shade. This is darker shade, the darkest shade on the palette. And I don't feel like this is the darkest black I've ever used, but I think it's pretty decent. And I feel like I'm not even showing you guys how impressed I am with this eyeshadow palette, because I did not expect it to work like this whatsoever. And I feel like the shadows are actually pretty good quality. They're blending really nicely. The pigmentation is unbelievable. Like all these colors, I feel like I've used so many palettes that are colorful like this one, and they don't give me this much like pigment, especially once you put it on your eye and you start blending. I feel like some colors just disappear from your eyes. This is actually a palette that I'm enjoying much more than the Morphe Gems Charles, which is very surprising to say, but I feel like if you're looking for a colorful palette, I would go with this one 100%, 100 times more than that one. So going back into the shade Jade right here on the bottom, I'm just gonna blend out that black a little bit better. This is actually a brand that I've never heard before. My friend messaged me and asked me if I had seen any tutorials on this or any reviews, and I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I've never heard of this brand before, and I don't know. I started looking at the website and it actually looked so pretty that I was like, I have to at least try it, you know, and for the price, I think it was such a good idea, and I'm so impressed. Once I have everything blended on my crease, what I like to do is go back to the lightest shade that I was using, which in this case is On Air. And I'm just putting this in this brush, and I'm just going to try to blend out right here very close to my brow bone, just making sure that there's no harsh lines, that everything looks nice and smooth, and you know. Alright, so we're going back to the P. Louise base in the back of my hand. And I'm going in with this brush one more time with the Sigma one, and I'm just going to start creating a cut crease on my eyes. I am not used to doing cut creases with such a big brush, but that's why I see everybody doing them, so I'm like, what am I missing out? Is this better? So I'm trying to like learn how to do it like that, but I'm not liking it, you guys. I have to say, I'm just gonna go back to my ways and how I like to do things. So I'm gonna be using my first shimmer from the palette. I'm going in with the shade Cloud 9 right here, and I'm gonna be applying this one with a flat brush, which I can't find. This one is the Morphe M421. I'm grabbing some of this shimmer shade and I'm applying this right in the inner corner. These shimmer shades are definitely not the most like shiniest and shimmery shades I've ever used, but I feel like the pigmentation is there, and they're very blendable and easy to use, so that's pretty good. But if you're looking for something super shimmery, this is probably not what you want to use. I'm gonna go in with Jade right here, and I'm just packing my brush, and I'm gonna be just tapping on the outer corner right here. Just really packing that color there, and then kind of blending it out in a diagonal. I'm going to be putting in Saumon Noir too, and packing that in the outer corner as well. I'm going into Amused right here. It's like a very lime green. It looks very similar to this one, but it's very much green. And I'm using the Morphe M421. I feel like I'm using the wrong brush. Am I? Yeah. Yep. I'm using the wrong brush. I'm going in with the Concealer F70 from Sigma. And I'm just putting this right next to that blue we had. And this combination of colors is like so pretty to me. I don't know why. I'm going back in with Jade right here. So now I'm going to be doing a wing liner, and I'm using this Sephora Long Lasting Wing Liner. This is their 12-hour wear. I'm going to be putting some lashes on, finish off the rest of my makeup, and then I'll be back to do under my eyes. Guys, I'm back. I have done my whole face of makeup. I'm going to be applying, I think, some lip gloss once I finish, depending on how it looks, because I feel like this is a little too nude for what I was going for. But we're going to finish off under our eyes. I'm going back into the Remember Me palette. And I think I'm going to be using this Lagoon shade right here because I just love that shade so much, and I feel like it's such a bright, like, of all the shades that I chose that are kind of like a darker blue, I feel like this one is kind of like the brightest one and kind of the one that makes everything just pop and come together. Anyways, I am going into this one. I'm going in with this Luxie brush. And I definitely want to tap off the excess because I already did my face makeup, so I want to be very careful. I'm applying this very close to my lash line, and I feel like it didn't take it off, but these shadows are honestly applying like butter. I don't think I have ever had such a good time with a palette where I am so comfortable, especially like a color palette, because obviously we all have some, you know, nudes, new palettes that we just love. But this one, I don't know, man, at least the colors that I've used so far have impressed me. I avoided the kickback, which is really good. Now I'm going into On Air right here, and I'm using the same brush that I was using, but just a different one. It's just the same kind. It's from Luxie. And I'm just going to be putting this lower underneath that blue that I just applied. And this one's just to, you know, blend it out, make it look a little bit more, like, less harsh, I would say, on top of my foundation. You can definitely tell the difference on how it looks. Alright, so the only complaint I have with this palette is that it doesn't really have kind of like a brow bone shade or maybe a white that I could use to set my concealer, but I think I'm going to just be applying the highlighter that I apply on my cheeks. So I use this Becca and Creasy Teigen palette right here, and I actually use this shade over here. So I'm just going to be using that one for my brow bone. And then I'm putting some on my inner corner as well. I'm just going to put some mascara on my lower lashes, and then I'll be back to give you guys my final thoughts. Guys, we have made it to the end of this video. Let me know what you think below because I am blown away. I'm seriously blown away by this brand. And I feel like, I don't know if all their shadows or their eyeshadow palettes really work this way, but this one somehow they just got it right, man. They just know what they're doing. It says that it's limited edition, so you definitely want to get your hands on this. I feel like I want to do a giveaway just because it is so inexpensive, and it's honestly, like, I'm not even, like, exaggerating. I would compare this to my James Charles Morphe palette. I would compare this to my Carnival palette from Be Perfect Cosmetics. It's just so good, and I feel like you do have almost all the colors that you need if you're looking to, you know, make more exciting looks or maybe like spice it up a little bit. I feel like this is a perfect beginner palette for someone that's learning how to do makeup. And even if you already know how to do makeup and you're a pro, I would say that I would say that you would enjoy using this palette. It was so easy. The eyeshadows applied so, like, just so beautifully. It was really easy to blend, super buildable. The pigmentation was there as soon as you apply it on the eyes. I will say one thing, I tried applying it with the ColourPop concealer before I used the P. Louise, and it was just not liking it. That is the second time that has happened to me with that particular concealer from ColourPop, so I would definitely say it's a problem with that concealer itself. I did end up really liking this, really enjoying it. I feel like for $15 I would definitely recommend this, no questions asked. I really enjoyed this. By the way, the foundation I'm using as well, I really love it. This one is the LA Girl Pro Matte High Definition Foundation, also under $10. So I feel like today's look, I used two things that were very inexpensive, and my makeup honestly looks super bomb. So 32 colorful shades right here. I feel like Armor Us definitely is going to be one of the things that I'm going to be ordering more and maybe doing still more giveaways on my Instagram. Let me know below if you like this look, if you thought this palette is worth it. I would love to know what you think. As always, don't forget to subscribe below before you leave, and I will see you on my next video. Bye!